Good day, friends. I'm slightly testing out a new camera angle today. For one reason being, I'm going to show a guitar I've just bought, and I'm also going to have it. I've got it plugged in at the moment. And this is a personal video. It's not really so much a fret friend video. It's certainly not a work video. It is basically, I've done it like this because I've just bought a new guitar, and it's not a new guitar. It's an old guitar, and I didn't particularly need a new guitar, but this came up, and as you can see, it's an SG. And it's an Epiphone SG, and it came up at that good a price. I had to buy it. It came up for £120. It is a 1999 Samick made in Korea, or Samick factory, so it's made in Korea. SG, it's the SG400 model, and these are just such a great guitar. Glued in neck, standard Epiphone pickups. I imagine that's a hot CH, and that's a 57, or that's a 57, that's hot CH in there. Not fantastic, not splittable, but they say, well, say not fantastic, they sound amazing. These guitars are just made really, really well. It needs a little bit of TLC. The frets are going to need a bit of work. We certainly need a polish, we may need a level, but what I like about these is you have the Gibson truss rod cover on the headstock. The truss rod works absolutely fine. You've got a scarf joint on the neck there. I don't mind that at all. I'm not mad keen on these tuners. I would prefer to have 2-lick tuners, but with a standard barrel in there. But they will do fine, so I'm going to leave them on. There's a bit of rust and gunk around the inserts for the bridge posts and for the tailpiece posts. So I'll remove those. I'll give them a steel wire brushing, or we'll get some WD-40 on there, clean them up and put them back. And the silver pickups, I'm not keen on anyway. But I'm reluctant to remove these pickups because they sound amazing. But I'm going to remove them because, one, I was going to take them out of the covers, but I'm not keeping them in anyway. I'm going to stick a different set of pickups in here because I want them splittable. And that moves me on to the next point. I will be upgrading this guitar. All I really will be changing is I'll be changing the pots, which, don't get me wrong, are not bad at all. The pots are really, really good. I might leave the 2 volume ones in there, but the 2 pots are going to be, 2 tone pots are going to be changed because I'm going to have coil split in there, and I've decided for the first time ever, I've just been to Accessories and I've ordered a load of gubbins, and I've ordered various pots because I want to change the pots in my Mexican Strat anyway. I'm also going to put a 4-way switch in my Telecaster, but I want to try out push pots, of which I have 2 here, and they look fantastic. And push for in, push again for out. And rather than having to pull a knob up to split the coil, we just want to press it, push it, and that'll pop up, and push it back to put it back on full coil. So I'm going to go with those in there. I'll be putting in some Mullard mustard capacitors, which they are my stock capacitor when I can find them. I discovered these a couple of years ago, and I was using orange drops, and once I discovered these, and I stuck some in my Gibson Studio, Les Paul Studio, these were brilliant, so I went and bought a load. I've got lots of them, about 16 or 17 left, so I only use them now, so I'm going to go with those in there. But the guitar, do you want to hear it? It's amazing. And I've got it set up for metal, and the amp I'm using is, if you can see it down there, it's a Fender Super Champ X2. It's only a 10 watt thing. It's absolutely brilliant. I bought this, I didn't buy it brand new, it was 3 weeks old when I got it. I got it for 210 quid. I had to pick it up from Northampton. It's an amazing little amp. It's a valve amp, all valve. It's got 2 preamp tubes and 2, is it EL34s or EL84 power tubes, and it also has effects built in and 16 different voicings, so it gives you great Fender clean tones, but many other voicings as well. I've got it not on the highest metal one, I've actually got it set on voice 14 at the moment, really high output. I'm not using any effects at all. I have a guitar tuned to drop D in standard, so it's basically standard E with a drop D, low E. Effects, I'm just using a Boss Super Overdrive. I've got the level on full. I've got the tone just over halfway, boosting the highs a little bit, and I have the drive at round about 8 o'clock, just a tiny bit of drive. It just gives you that extra bit of, it's not on yet, that extra bit of sustain and cut. That's on, this is off. This is on. Sounds absolutely massive. We're going to stick that back there for now. Well, I'm not. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to turn off the amp. I'm going to bring the guitar over to the bench. I'm going to explain what we are going to do. And I'm going to try and stay in the middle of the camera. I don't think I really like that angle that much, but it's not awful, is it? A little bit closer than I want to be. What I'm going to do with this guitar is, like I said, I'm going to remove the pickups. They could come out. I've got 2 pickups to put in there because I'm going to split the coils anyway. So we're going to replace the 2 tone pots with 2 push-pull pots. These pickups are going to come out. In the bridge, I'm putting, in fact I'll go to the neck first. I bought, don't even know what these are. I was looking for a set of pickup covers, black pickup covers with holes in for some pickups earlier in this year. And I thought, well, I found some. I thought 12 quid's a bit expensive for 2 covers, but I'll buy them anyway. Anyway, I read the description wrong. They weren't pickup covers, they were actually pickups. And they're absolutely brand new. And these are by a company called Y-Buy or Yi-Buy in China. And I think they're £11 sterling. That's about 12 or 13 euros for both. And I've already sold the bridge one, but I still have a neck one. And they're loosely based, or they look a little bit like a bare knuckle. They look fantastic. That's probably any resemblance to a bare knuckle you're going to get. It looks like one. But I have tried. I tried the bridge one. The bridge one, but it was a 15k output, a 15k resistance, and it was a really good sounding pickup. Now I've had these in a guitar and I've tested them. And I think they sound really quite good. So I've decided to stick that one in the neck just because I have it. And I do have an Ibanez INF one, Infinity one pickup. I do want to put that in. I want to put that in because it's all black. And pair it, I'm going to pair this with, what about this? That's right, that's a Seymour Duncan Invader. That's out of my Kramer now. I sold my Kramer quite a while ago, but I kept this pickup and I kept the original Floyd Rose. And this is Seymour Duncan Invader, which is going in the bridge. It's probably my favourite of all pickups. It just does metal so well. But I'm going to have to adapt this and extend the wires on it because they're very short. And this was intended to go into my Mexican Strat, but I've put a Jeff Beck in there instead. This may still make it in there, I don't know, or I'll buy a new one. But this is going to go in the bridge. And this isn't just a standard one, it's stamped BJ. Well, the J is for, what's her name? Maricela Juarez, who is the custom winder at Seymour Duncan. So it's a custom one. I would say this is a late 80s custom. So this is going in the bridge. So I'm going to pair that with this. That's going to be my pickups in this guitar. It's going to be an absolute monster. And the main reason, not the main reason I bought this guitar, because I love Korean guitars anyway, but this one is going to be, basically it's going to be my tester anyway for pickups. So when I get some new pickups in, I want to try some pickups out, this will be the guitar that I'm going to test them in. And the good thing about having my split coils in there is I can test various settings, and I can test them split and I can test them straight. So I can put these 2 pickups in. I will get a new nut in time. I'll probably stick a black Tusk, a Gravtech Tusk nut in there. And I'm going to go with the 2 push pots. Never used these before. I installed a push-pull pot on a client's guitar a couple of weeks ago, and someone on my YouTube channel says, why don't you install push-push? Much easier to use. And I thought, well, it's right, but I just thought the reason I installed the push-pull was because it's what the client asked for. But these are a push-push. Push down, that'll be the split. Push down again, it'll be the full 2 coils. So I'm going to crack on with that. My wife just walked in, as you might have heard. She didn't know I was doing a video, so no big deal. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crack on with this guitar. I'm going to get the strings off, I'm going to look at the frets, we're going to change the pickups, we're going to clean up the hardware, and once we are done, come back and check how we got on. But I think you're going to agree the upgrades are going to be really, really nice. Nothing major, no major work being done on this, but I'm just going to make it nice. I will also treat the fingerboard with mineral oil, get the frets all levelled and polished up, re-crowned where need be, and we'll just make this guitar really, really playable and sounding nice. And this then can just be sat in my workshop and it'll be a pick up and play guitar. So stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. It's going to be a little 2-in-1 video here because I'm going to show a couple of things. And first and foremost, regarding my SG upgrades, I've extended the wire on my Seymour Duncan custom shop Invader, and there you go. And I now have 4 wires on there, sticking with Seymour Duncan colours. The coil split is going to be the red and white, hot is black, green goes to bare. But in this case, instead of leaving the wire bare, I put a blue wire in there. The join on the original cable is here. And you can see I've gone over heat shrink wrap and joined everything together. We've got proper connection everywhere. Everything's nice and sealed, and we're looking fantastic. So, next part of the video, and this is why it's going to be separate. And the reason being, my holes or lug holes for the screws are loose there, and I couldn't get any nuts the size of the screw. So what I did was I just basically built up some solder underneath just to slightly fill the hole around the screw, because it won't solder to the screw, and make it a bit tighter, but that's not good enough. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to use a thicker screw or a thicker bolt that holds it in, and I've already done that. And what I've done with the other side is I've gone with bigger bolts, gone with slightly wider, 3mm ones, and what I've done is I've soldered a nut. I've made the hole bigger and I've soldered a nut to the bottom of the lug, and it's fantastic. And now with the spring attached, I can just insert the newer, bigger bolts. It gives me a thread to work with. You can see I've got to put my hand in the way there, but you can see I've threaded a nut to that, and the bolt goes straight through, and it doesn't wobble. It's nice and stiff, and it's perfect. And I'm going to do exactly the same this side, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So this video is going to be a separate video from my SG upgrade, but it's also, this part of this video is also going to be inclusive in that, so stay tuned. I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to show how to fix a problem where your bolts are too loose, and we're not going to re-thread this hole, but what we're going to do is we're going to solder a nut to the plate. So I'm going to clean the solder off this, I'm going to get a nut, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So stay tuned. Hi and welcome to Fret Friend, and for those of you who have not been watching my SG upgrade series, I'll explain what we are doing on this video. And what I'm going to do is we have a Seymour Duncan Invader pickup. One I've extended the wires on because we had a very short cable just here and I needed to extend it, so I've done that and I made a good job of that. But that's another story. But what we're going to do is, I have a problem with the lugs, and the holes over the years have become too big to hold the screws or the bolts and the springs, like so. And what I've been doing is I've been building up solder around the actual bolt to make a new thread, but that is not a long-term fix. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to go with thicker, bigger bolts, and you see here I've already soldered a nut to this side, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And if I just zoom in just a little, and you'll see it there, I've soldered a nut on there, and I'm going to zoom back out again. I'm going to place this exactly where I'm going to be working, which is there, and I'm going to move the camera so that is absolutely centered, so I can zoom in and you can see what I'm doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to put we're going to use thicker screws or thicker bolts, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to be going with these. I do believe these are 3mm, and they're fantastic. Now the thing is, that doesn't fit in that hole yet, but that hole is too big for the original screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to desolder this. I've got a soldering iron and it's quite hot. I've got it set to 360 degrees just about, and we're going to melt this solder and we're just going to get rid of it. what we don't get rid of, we're going to file away. And I could use a desoldering pump, but I can't get at it at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get that and we're going to throw it off. And there you go, that's most of the solder gone. And what we're going to do now is we're going to leave that hot. Take a flat file. And we're just going to solder all this away. Now, I can zoom in just a little so you're going to get what I'm doing here. I'm not saying this is a definitive way to do it, but it's the way I do it. And we're going to remove all of this solder. It doesn't take a lot of work. Some people are going to say, oh, you're going to get iron filings in the pickup. You know what? Shut up. I'm not. So we're going to file away all that solder. We can leave a bit on there. That's fine. That's beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we need to make this hole a little bit bigger. And I do have some parts to do that. I have a pair of needle files. I have one an all steel one, I have one a diamond cut one. And we're going to go in there. We're just going to make this hole bigger. And it's going to take a bit of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video just for a second while I get that done, and I'll come back and show you that finished. So now the hole is big enough. I'm just going to zoom out a little again just to show you what I'm going to do next. And what I'm going to do is I've got the bolt I want to go through there, 3mm, same as the one I've already got this side, and we're going to push it through the hole we've made. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a nut on the bottom, but we're not going to put the screw all the way through. Now if you check these nuts, you'll see one might have a little bit flatter side than the other, so we're trying to get a flatter side down if there is one, but if there isn't, no big deal. What I'm going to do is just going to bring the screw to the top, and then we're going to tighten this nut at the bottom, or at the top as you see it, you know what I mean. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do that, and we're going to set the screw straight, and we're just going to nip this up with a plier, like so. And there you go, that screw is now exactly where we need it to be. And it's looking fantastic. It's straight. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put some solder around here to get this actually set. So I'm going to zoom back in. Just bear with me a second while I turn the sound off my phone. So we now have the nut set exactly where we want it. Let's zoom in. You can see that's where we need to be. The screw is straight both ways. So all we're going to do now is we're going to solder this nut on, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some heat. 360-degree soldered iron I'm using. This is not lead-free solder. This solder has lead in it. I prefer this solder. I should be wearing a mask. I'm not. But you know. And we're going to just run some solder all the way around this nut. We're going to get it on the plate. We're going to heat up the whole area, because we need a good hot connection here. And we're now getting it. Hopefully you can see. We'll run some solder all the way around along the plate. And hopefully we can get that to run all the way around the nut like so, which we have done, and the plate. And that should be it. I'm going to let that cool a moment or two. See, I've got a good load of solder all the way around, and I have. That nut is going nowhere. That's absolutely brilliant. And what we're going to do now is we're going to unscrew the bolt. Get the right screwdriver on there. It should bring the other nut with it. And it has. And there you go. We now have a fixed pickup with two nuts soldered underneath, and we now have two tight fitting screws on the pickup. Absolutely fantastic. That pickup now will fit perfectly, or will go in the guitar perfectly. We've got new wires on there, brand new wires, brand new lugs, and we can use that pickup as a normal pickup. You notice it is a JB. Well, no, it's not JB, sorry. It is a Seymour Duncan Invader. This is a custom shop one because it's got the initials BJ on there. B standing for bridge, J standing for Juarez or Juarez, which is Maricela Juarez, who is the custom winder at Seymour Duncan pickups, and she has been since the middle of the 80s. Now, whether this is actually a custom shop one, there's a little bit of an argument about that. There was a little bit of a hoo-ha on the internet saying just because she's got initials on it doesn't mean it's a custom WAM one, because a lot of people are saying just the regular ones also have this sticker. So I'm not bothered whether it's a custom shop one or not. It is my favourite pickup, and it is going in one of my guitars. In fact, it's going in my Epiphone SG. So there you go. Pickup is now fixed and ready to go in the guitar. My name is Victor Christian. I am Fret Friend. You can catch me at facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. That's facebook.com/NG17. That's for the benefit of those people who are not watching the SG video. This information will be repeated at the end. If you're watching the SG video, this information will be repeated at the end of the video anyway. I hope you enjoyed that little piece on how to fix a pickup with stripped out holes for fixing it to the guitar. But moving on a little bit, and there are a couple of little problems with this guitar. Nothing I can't sort out, but I've had a couple of issues with it. And if I showed you that looks disgusting, doesn't it? Looks like it's come out of somebody's, we don't want to know. But I had issues with the studs and the inserts for the bridge and tailpiece, and that is because these two are really rusty, and this one I couldn't budge the insert at all. And what I've had to do is I've had to basically squirt a lot of WD-40 in there, and I've had to more or less butcher the end just to get it out. So I'm going to replace these. I mean, not uber expensive if I just want to get some Epiphone ones, but it'd have been nice if I'd I mean, look at the rust on the bottom of that. Yeah, but I could have damaged stuff trying to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these inserts, and I'm going to show you also how we do that. And what I'm going to do is, to make it easier for me, I'm going to turn the guitar around, and they probably won't come out easy because there's a lot of rust in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace them. I'm going to replace the inserts. I might even get a stop tailpiece, and I mean, this I can clean up because it's actually a decent brand. But I could go and see what I can get on eBay used. For instance, this is a spring without the spring. I bet should. Oh, we do have a spring clip. That's good. I think I can clean that up. I'd like to keep that, and maybe I could clean the inserts up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare to replace these inserts. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove them. I'm going to turn the soldering iron off. It's still on. I'm going to remove these, so when I remove the pickups and do all the pickups and everything, I'm going to remove all of that, and I'm going to do all the job in one fell swoop. I'm going to basically level the frets, recrown the frets. I may as well replace the nut as well. I would think spend another £25 on this guitar will be about right. I've already spent, I bought 2 new push pots, so I've already spent, I don't know what I've spent so far. I think they're about £7 each, something. They are Alpha brand. But what I need to do is I need to remove these inserts, and like I say, sometimes they can be a bit of a pain to get out. So I'm going to turn the guitar around, I'll get the camera on there, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I did say I was going to move the camera, but I'm not going to do that. I've changed my mind because the first one was a nightmare to get out. And let me explain how we do this. And what we normally do is, to remove an insert on a guitar, we drop a fatter, thicker, heavy-duty screw in the hole, something like this with a big base on it like so, and then what we'll do is we'll take one of the bolts for the tailpiece and we'll screw it in, and as we screw it in it pushes down on there and it pulls this out. Well, it didn't do that on this. The screw actually nearly went through the base of the guitar, and I'll show you why, and this is the reason why. Look at the rust on that, and I couldn't get it moving. Luckily I didn't go through the bottom of the guitar, but I do have that stuck. And what I'm going to have to do with this guitar is I'm going to have to replace the bridge and tailpiece. I don't really have a choice. And this has got stuck in there. I need to get that out. I'm not going to clean that up and use it again because it is bogging. It has had it. But it wasn't much fun screwing this into that insert to hit that screw, because I thought it was going to bust out the other end. And how does that get that in that state? I have absolutely no idea how it gets like that. So I'm I'm not annoyed, it's just I'm not very pleased. You know, at the end of the day I bought the guitar in good faith and you're not expecting anything to be anything wrong with it. I'll let the seller know, I'll just say, look, you need to check your guitars better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and remove the others using my normal method. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use a big screw because it's too big. What I'm going to use is something like a Floyd Rose bridge bolt in there. Maybe I've got a nice thick one there. And I will turn the camera around and I'll show you. I'm just going to have a look inside. That doesn't look too bad in there. I'm going to show you how we normally remove one. So I am going to move the camera. Now I've changed my mind again. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to work. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop a small, well not small, quite a thick screw in the hole. It should drop in there and it's going to give this something to push against. Now by rights these should just come straight out. That is too high. I can't use that one. It's too big a screw, so I'm going to use a slightly smaller one. There you go. And a slightly smaller one there. Now there you go, we can get in there. Now what we need to do now is we need to tighten this and it should pull this out. Now in some cases it doesn't. You've got to be very careful you don't push that screw inside there out through the bottom. And that's exactly what's happening at the moment. So I'm going to place some WD-40 on there. We're going to hope that works loose. What I don't want to do is I don't want to push that screw through the bottom of the guitar. It's what I did on my last one almost. And this might just, it's just moving out now, look. We're now lifting it up. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to change that screw over. Because we don't want to push it through the bottom of the guitar. You see now it's lifted. Don't know if you can see where you are. We need to get that screw out and put a bigger one in there. And that is pushing through the base of the guitar. But we have got it out, which is good. I don't know if that's in the same place. We'll have to do there. Put a slightly bigger one in. Try and get it sat straight. We don't want it pushing through the bottom of the guitar. But what I will do after this is I will drop some epoxy in that hole just to seal that up and give it something to bite against. And this is, it should now come up. And it's still not coming out, you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a longer screw in there. Ah ha ha, here you go, we have got it. Let's try and turn it and pull at the same time, and there you go, we've got it out. And look at the crap on there. Again, I'm throwing these away. I will have to get a plier on there. I've just ordered a new stop toe piece and a new bridge. It's cost me another £17 on top of what I paid for the guitar, which could have done without that, but at the end of the day I've got a good deal on the guitar. But these are absolute crap. I'm going to try and get these two removed now. I'm going to do it off camera in case I have an accident. But once that's done, we'll get in here and we'll get these slots cleaned out and we'll fix them all up. Okay, change of plan. I've just taken the pots out of this guitar because they were all rusted. This guitar's been submerged in water. I mean, the rust here, the rust inside these holes, they're there, and inside there. Now, I know for a fact that Carl, the guy who bought this guitar off, did not know that, and I've just found out who we got it from. And he bought it from a guy up in Scotland. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a guy I had a fallout with more than once because he ripped one of my clients off a couple of years ago. He ripped him off a couple of £100 and all, and he knew what they were doing. And it was a guy who was a member of my pedal. I've got a pedal sales page on there, and he's a member of that. And he pulled out of there the other week because he come in there blabbing his mouth off, nearly cost me a deal. So again, I messaged him and he got really stroppy about it. Oh, I'll leave, so he left. So I blocked him. I blocked him from my page and I blocked him from my personal page and everything. And I'm not going to say any more about the guy, but he's, you know who he is. You know exactly who he is. Now I've said he's based up in Scotland and he's a dealer up there, seller up there. And he's got a pretty good reputation with most people. But this guitar, he sold it my friend. Obviously, whether he knew or not, I don't know. But the parts, I've just chucked them in the bin. I'll go fetch them back out. They were absolutely bogging inside. They were all rusted, all the washers. Look at that. It's like, you know, when a battery acid comes out, it's like that. They're all like that, and they all got rust on them and everything. And the washers were all rusted. So I've binned them. Now the washers are here. Here you go. Found the pots. Found the pots and a couple of washers. I'll show you the washers just to show you I'm not BSing. I don't BS anyway. But I did find a washer. I've just dropped it back in there. Take my word for it. These washers, I mean, these pots had it. Look at the fuzz all on there. So I've chucked them away. Luckily, in my pot straw, that guitar's been submerged in water. I guarantee it. It's amazing it still works. I'm going to chuck these little capacitors away. Don't need them. I'll put some good things in there. Oh, here we go. I've got these washers as well from under the pots. Here you go. Look at these. There you go. Can you see them? That's the stage line. I've got two more in my hand here. There them. So this can all go in the bin. I'm going to bin all that. Fortunately, I go and buy things now and again. I think I'll just stick them in my pots drawer. And I had bought, not too long ago, some Alpha pots. And these are Alpha A500s, they're audio pots. So they're going to be my volume pots because it's what they are. And I've also just bought 2 times Alpha push pots, tone pots, B500s. And they're tone pots, so they're going to be my tone pots. So I'm going to have a push on each pickup for a call split. And all Alpha pots, brand new pots. I've already put a new 3-way in there. Not the big box one, but a proper Epiphone one. That's gone in there. And you'll see I've got the pickups in. And there I've got the bare knuckle, it's not a bare knuckle clone, but it looks like a bare knuckle. It's a £7 Chinese pickup, pulling out 7.7k splittable. And this one is a late 1980s or early 1990s Seymour Duncan Invader custom shop, which I've got in there. All the wiring's been stripped, ready to go. So we're going to have all new pots in there. I've ordered some tools or some bits to make a tool to pull these inserts out. So what I'll be doing is I will be basically getting a tube, a metal tube or a plastic tube, piece of plastic pipe about yay high. Going to put a washer on top. And through that washer we're going to put an M8 bolt. And as we tighten the M8 bolt, it's going to pull the insert out. It's going to do this one as well. I'll protect the body of the guitar so we don't, the plastic tube doesn't make a mark on the guitar. But we'll get those out. And once they're out, we'll put new ones in. Now the problem with putting new ones in is, if they're only 11mm, they're going to fall in, and we're going to pull straight out like this. Let me show you. It just fell straight in, look, and let me show you it falling out. It's not falling out. It wants to. There you go. It just fell out. The holes are too big, so I may have to dowel these up and re-drill. Don't really want to do that. So what I thought I might do is, if the new inserts aren't quite wide enough, I'm going to put some PTFE around there. And we're going to knock them in, making sure that I do have the bridge earth wire connected to the piece of metal on there so we get a good connection. Don't really have any choice, it's what I've got to do. So really now I'm on hold. I could wire the pots in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm whizzing off out shortly. I will get the pots ready to go in tomorrow and I'll rewire everything. So at least we'll have the electrics and the pickups sorted out, and then we can move on to a couple of things I've got to do. Got to sort these inserts out, get these 2 out, get all the new ones in. I've ordered a new bridge, new tailpiece, Korean ones from a reputable seller. And then I also need to move on to getting these frets sorted out, getting them levelled and getting them polished. I'm even considering refretting this. Might not do it yet, might not do it straight away, but I do have some stainless steel fret wire in my drawer. I bought for no product in particular, but it's been there every year. I've not found a guitar to put it in yet, but I do have it, so it's something I do want to do, another string to my bow, so I may put stainless steel frets on this yet. This is going to be my in-house player. That's all this is going to be. It was going to be a pickup donor, so I could just try pickups in and out of there, but I ain't going to do that. This guitar sounds amazing and plays amazing. I love the neck. So this is going to be my pick up and play guitar in the workshop. It's going to be fantastic when it's done. Really, really pleased with it. So this one's on hold for a day or two. I will come back when I get the parts I need to remove these inserts, and I will show you exactly how we do that. So stay tuned. Good morning, fret friends. And we are now going to remove this insert. And I've already removed one, this side. And my bolts and washer arrived today. Now I've got a set of washers on there and a bolt. And this little piece here is basically the pivot or the holder for my swivel vise, which goes on my other bench, and it's going to do the job admirably. I normally use a piece of tubing here and support it underneath, but this is going to be perfect. But what I'm going to do is, I don't want this to be touching the guitar, so what we're going to do is we're going to place a business card under each leg. I've actually got some of my old Christian Guitars business cards here, but there you go. That is perfect. And what we're going to do is, got an M8 bolt or an 8mm bolt and some washers, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this into that thread. We're going to grab hold of that thread. So there you go, we're in, and we're going to tighten this up. And what we're going to do is, as we tighten this nut, it's going to bring the it's going to pull the stud out. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use a ratchet wrench, ratchet spanner, and we're just going to tighten it. And now we are pulling it up, and we should see it. I'll see it coming up shortly. It's very, very tight. Like I say, you could use just a piece of metal tubing on there, but you need to support it well underneath so it doesn't mark the guitar. And it is coming up now. I can see it coming up. It's pulling out. Much better way than dropping a screw in there and almost punching a screw through the bottom of your guitar, which you really do not want to do. And no wonder I struggle getting these out. And that is pulling it up, and I think we are just about out there. Oh, no, not yet, it's coming. There you go, we've got it. And that, my friends, is how you remove the studs properly. We've not marked the guitar. I'm just removing this from this piece so you can see how disgusting these are. And we have both these holes are now not super clean, but stick that on there. Look at the state of these. These are the two I've just pulled out this morning. So this guitar was sold to my friend 2 months ago by a guy up in Scotland. You'll all know him. You know his name. And that's disgusting. So anyway, at least they are out. I'm going to clean up these slots. I don't know if my new inserts are going to fit right. If they don't fit right, I'm going to have to plug these holes. I do have some 12mm dowel, which I can basically plug them and get some glue in there, and I can plug those if I need to. Because if I plug and re-drill, you're not going to see. I won't have to paint match it because you're not going to see it under these edges anyway. So not a problem. So that's it. At least now I can move on and get the guitar finished. Okay, here we are with my SG, and we've moved on quite a bit, and I've got all the electrics in. You'll see we now have a push-push pot on each tone, which is going to split the coils. Tested everything, it's working. I'm going to show you the wiring. Beautiful and neat in there. If you want to pause that and have a quick look, you can do. All very neat, very simple wiring. All I have on the tone pot is the split. I just have a split in the earth wires from the pickups. I've got a new 3-way in there. I've rewired the input jack. I put all black hardware on there. Black input jack, black switch tip, black hardware. The posts I've got in eventually. I didn't have to drill them out, I glued them in, as you might have saw earlier in the, well, I didn't glue them in. I just built up a little bit of glue in there, filled the holes. I will have a roller bridge going on and a stop bar I had knocking about. So yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to have that on there. So it's going to look, I'll get this bridge on now. And at the end of the day, cosmetically it is not brilliant, but physically it's perfect. It's fantastic. That's with the bridge and the tail piece on. So we're going to look. I have just a cheap £6 by Y buy or Ye buy pick up. I bought a set. I sold the bridge one for a tenner. I've got this one. It cost me £12 the pair. Looks a bit like a bare nickel, but it isn't. And this is a real the real Seymour Duncan Invader custom shop, which I've had a few years. I've extended the wire on it. It's a fantastic pickup. So this guitar is going to sound like an absolute beast. A couple of things I've got to do. I'm not going to do a fret level yet. I'm not changing the tuners, even though they are chrome. They will do. I will be giving it a fret level at some point, but not today. I will also be staining the fingerboard black, dark black. This is a 1999 Korean one, made of ceramic plant, which I've already mentioned. I think it looks fantastic like that. That looks really, really good. So this has cost me, I don't know, maybe I spent 35, 40 quid on extra bits. The pickup I had anyway, probably not even that. Probably spent 20 quid. These are just bits I had knocking about, but let's say it's cost me about £150 plus the Seymour Duncan pickup, the Invader pickup. It's going to be a fantastic guitar. It's going to sound like a beast. I will swap the nut out at some point. I think that's plastic in there. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some strings on it. I might just clean my fretboard first, get some strings on, get it set up, and then I'm going to have a tinker about and a play with it. Going well so far. And here is the guitar all finished. I think you will agree, it looks really quite good with all the black hardware. We've got Seymour Duncan Custom Shop Invader pickup in the bridge, a no-name Yai Bai or Yi Bai Chinese pickup in the neck. I've put push pots on the tone, so each coil is splittable. Regular 3-way, roller bridge now on there. If you remember, these inserts were an absolute nightmare to remove. I do have them in a special little piece of kitchen roll here, just to show how terrible these were. And they were really quite disgusting. This guitar has been immersed in water, the body of this guitar. How do I know that? Well, I know that because of these, for starters. But all the pots and the electrics and everything was all rusted up, not usable again. I've chucked all the original pots, all the original wiring, that's all gone. I've rewired it from scratch, brand new pots in there. All alpha pots, 2 tone pots are push pots. And we've got 2 audio pots for the volumes. Another reason I noticed, but I've also put a new 3-way switch in there, obviously, and a new jack, all black. Another reason I know it's been submerged in water, that I've just tightened up the strap pin and it snaps. There you go. There's the other bit of it. So now I've got to try and get that out without making a mess. What I'll do is I'll drill around it slightly, I'll pull it out with some pliers, and I'll drill 6mm hole and put a 6mm dowel in there, and I'll fix that up and I will get that right. One nice surprise under the truss rod cover here is it's a Gibson type barrel nut, not the hex key nut. It's what you have to use one of these to adjust it. So Gibson type, which is absolutely fantastic. That's a nice bonus. Maybe the earlier Samick or the earlier Korean made ones were all like that. So 1999 Korean made one. I'm just going to tidy up these strings. Just nip these ends off. These aren't the strings I'm keeping on it anyway. It's just a set of rotor signs that were on it, 1046s I believe. I don't really like them strings anyway. I'd love to stick with them because they are British, but I will be going with a heavier gauge string on here, and I'll be tuning to drop D, I imagine, maybe even drop C. But there is the guitar. All the work, as mentioned, is done, bar I've got the sort of strap pin out now, which is a bit more of an annoyance. I would like a new nut on there in time. Keep these chrome tuners on for now because they're original. I've got some tulip tuners, but they're the ones with just one screw hole at the bottom. I could put them on, I don't know. I think the guitar looks pretty alright like as it is. So what am I doing with the guitar? I'm going to keep it for a while and I'll put my own pickups in. I might sell it in the future. One criticism of the roller saddles is this is a bit narrower, and you see the strings are quite a bit away from the top and the bottom of the fingerboard there. It's about 2mm narrower than a regular bridge. I'd like it just a little bit wider. But saying that, looks pretty good. It's a very nice wide neck on these anyway. Looks great. What's it sound like? Well, I have had it plugged in, but only not my proper sound and everything. It sounds good. It sounds okay. Doesn't it sound any better than it did with the original pickups? I don't think there's much difference, to be honest with you. I thought with the Invader it sounded a lot better, but the actual original pickups on this were fantastic. So we had a lot to do to make it sound better. I don't think it could have made it sound better. So the Invader is probably wasted in there, but things I don't like, chrome pickups. I might take the covers off and stick them back in at some future date, but I won't be able to split them, there'd be no point. So let's see how we are. I think we're going to keep this guitar for a while. It's definitely a player. It looks good. I've stained the fingerboard once. When I get to working on my frets, I'll stain that fingerboard a couple of times again and get it really black, and it will look fantastic. Definitely a great looking guitar, a great playing guitar, and a great sounding guitar. So I've not done bad there for 150 quid when all said and done. Bit more work than I expected, but that's not anything against the seller. He wasn't to know. And the guy in Scotland, well, I'll just leave him to do what he does. You know, there's no point harping on about it. But anyway, a nice 1999 Samick Factory Epiphone SG400 SG guitar in fine fettle. Needs a new strap pin, but apart from that, it's brilliant. I'm going to plug it in now. I'm going to have a little go on it, and that is another one of my own guitars done. That's two I've managed to get cracked out this last week or so. Two of my own guitars. So that's it. So until next time, check my webpage, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com NGONESEVEN. I'm Victor Christian. This is Fret Friend. And until next time, boys and girls, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon.